name is Anna, and today's session is about the Global Development Institute Scholarship. And I'm here with Elvis Calvin Owusu. He is a student at University of Manchester, UK, studying development finance. So I would leave it to Elvis to introduce himself and we start. Yeah. Hello, Elvis.
So my name is Elvis, currently an MSc Development Finance candidate at the University of Manchester. Until last year, August, I was in Ghana working full-time. I got the opportunity to come and further my studies in the UK. So that's just a bit about me. So today, my presentation will be on the scholarship that I am on and others within the school that I am. When I say not the university as a whole, there are a lot of scholarships in the university, but I mean the school under the university, the scholarships that I have seen. So that's what I'll be sharing today. So I'll talk about master's fund. I'm a master's student, so I'll talk about the master's fund funding available and the PhD funding available. So GDI, the full meaning Global Development Institute, right? So the institute is mainly focused on development issues. So they give scholarships to, of course, countries in the global south and other developing countries. So if you are in any less developed country, that's where they are focusing. So most of their scholarships are to those from those areas, not to members from developed countries. So that's a great opportunity for people like me from Ghana to have gotten the opportunity to be awarded. So basically from GDR, there are two major scholarships, right? So there are two major scholarships. One is the Equity and Merit Scholarship. Equity and Merit Scholarship. Now, there are two classifications of the scholarship at the school. So one is for countries classified by the World Bank as low-income countries. And countries, the other one is for members from lower middle income. And Ghana falls under lower middle income countries. So countries like, as we have here, Ethiopia, Malawi, Rwanda, Tanzania, Uganda, etc. So as we have here, so any country that is a low income per World Bank classification falls and is entitled to apply for this scholarship. Now, this scholarship, the value of the scholarship is over £57,000, including tuition, stipend, travel expenses, accommodation, national health insurance charge, and your TB test. So if you are a member of any of these countries, you can apply and be awarded. So that is the equity. Unfortunately, Ghana doesn't fall under this category. So that's a sad news for Ghanaians on the call. Now, the other scholarship which I am on, is the GDI Merit Scholar, which is now being rebranded as the GDI Master's Bursary. In fact, the value of this scholarship was also over £57,000 as at last year, which includes tuition, stipends, accommodation, and other travel expenses. So this scholarship, until last year September, as like I said, the value was over £57,000, and it's those people from nationals from countries which have been classified as lower middle income countries. So as we have the example, Ghana. So that's why you see Ghana here. In fact, I got the reasoning for rebranding this scholarship was that the idea is that they felt it wasn't so equitable like it has been. So if you see the earlier slide I presented, the idea is that they wanted to give the scholarship to nationals from countries that are less developing so that they'll focus on development issues and go back to their country and go and help them. But they realized that Ghana, countries like Ghana, Brazil are more advanced in terms of their economies as compared to a country like Zimbabwe. So it will only be fair to reduce the value of the scholarship so that a lot of people will get opportunity. Uh, uh, a few research I did, usually the award is given to about 2 or 3 people per year. This particular scholarship, but the other scholarship is given to about 39 applicants every year. 10 of which are online, the rest 29 are of full-time on campus. So for this master's bursary, the idea is to expand the scope. So those who have applied and have been given unconditional offer, they'll be given a discount of, they'll be given this value of scholarship. So like I said, as until last year, it was a full scholarship. That's a scholarship I am on. So all my expenses were catered for. So that's a sad news for Ghanaians, but £10,000 is a lot of money, especially for those who are self-funded and will be able to make up for the difference. So that is it. Then, so for you to qualify and apply for these scholarships, these two scholarships, first of all, like I said, you have to be a member of any of these countries. And you should be applying to any of these courses. So there are a lot of courses out there. So you realize all these courses are development issues. So I am a development finance candidate. So all these issues, all the courses here are development related, development. So if you ask me, I am from a typical accounting and finance background, but I decided to do my master's in development finance. So like I'll talk in later in coming slides, you should be able to link your background to whichever course you are writing, you are intending to read, and how you help your country when you are done with the course. So these are some of the courses you can you look through, the ones that aligns with your interest is in. So we have here a lot of courses that you can choose from and apply. So the next one. So the GDI also have funding for PhD, which is a full funding. Those who want to pursue PhD, there's a full funding for them. So this PhD in this at the GDI is more aligned to using IT to solve development issues. So if that's where your interest is in, there's a full scholarship. As I think the scholarship for the PhD funding is quite, they give it to quite a number of people. So as you can see, artificial intelligence and development, data intensive development, data justice, data science, digital economy, etc. Anything IT related. So you should, if that's where your interests lie, it doesn't mean that your earlier degree should necessarily be, you should be able to, perhaps maybe your work experience or your, of course, if you are from the science background or your IT background, that gives you some edge, but it doesn't necessarily mean that it's a, wherever background you are coming from, once you are able to demonstrate your motivation to pursue this, you should be able to. And one thing they usually look out for your research potential, should be able to demonstrate that either your master's or your bachelor's. If you've read a bachelor's and you have a very strong research background, I think I met somebody who came straight with a bachelor's, and purposely because when he finished his bachelor's, he worked as a research assistant. So even though he's not done master's, typically they gave this PhD funding to master students, but he, after his bachelor's, did a 2 years research So his experience in give him that edge to qualify for this scholarship. So if you're a master student who wants to pursue your career in any of this, there's a full funding at the Global Development Institute for you in these areas. So those are the scholarships available at the GDI. Now, I must also mention that the University of Manchester is celebrating 200 years this year. So there are a lot of scholarships in the university where beyond these two scholarships. Just that most of them are not full scholarships, but they are. I didn't bring them here because you need to necessarily apply to the school directly. These scholarships I mentioned are managed by the GDI. So when GDI awards you the scholarship before, they will ask you to apply to the school. So that is that. Now, on hindsight, after being awarded and starting my course and going through, I reflected and realized some of the things I realized I did right. So those are the things that I think I'll share, and perhaps maybe some of the questions that will come up. But let me share them. If you want me to explain more, I'll go onto that. One of the things I realized I did was that I actually applied early. Usually these scholarships are released in the middle of November. So that should mean that this year's cohorts would have been released last year in November. And usually the application and the deadline is around middle of January. I think this one was around 19th January. So if you apply early, I overheard. Should I say overheard? I understand that a lot of students apply for this scholarship. A lot of students. So, and most of these students also have very strong backgrounds, a strong application. So down the admission committees are faced with the challenge of whom do you give the scholarship to, aside the other document they submit. So one of the criteria is to do first come first serve. A lot of students, especially students from the Asian countries, right? Most of them apply. So there are a lot of them. So if you have everything right, the other thing they look at is when you apply. So I remember this, but I saw this on LinkedIn. I think the second week of November. By the end of November, I had submitted all my application. So that's one thing I realized I did right. And I noticed I did it right because when I came to the school and I sat in few meetings and I had conversations around that, before I knew that now it was a right thing I did at the time. So if it's a scholarship that interests you, like the timelines I've communicated, you make sure you check out. And when it's around those time, you actively look for it and apply early. Then the other thing I noticed I did was that I demonstrated my experience with a strong personal statement and CV. This scholarship, I must say, I've applied to a lot of scholarships, both in US, Canada, and UK. I must say, GDI scholarship is one of the easiest and the straightforward scholarship you will apply to. The idea is to make the process seamless so that students from less privileged backgrounds and less developed countries will be able to apply. I know there's some of the application processes deter a lot of people, right? But this scholarship, because the idea is to give the scholarship to students from those countries and to make it easy for them, GDI manages the scholarship. So what happens is you apply to the school, they award you, then they will ask you to apply to the university. But because they are the one handling it within the university, the process becomes faster once you are awarded. So let me show you some. If I go back to there's a link here to the application form. It's quite simple and straightforward. So this is the form, a 9-page form, but quite straightforward. So this is the equity. Let me start from the first page. So this is the equity and merit. scholarship form for 2024-25 academic year, 2025 academic year. As you can see, there's a deadline here. Now, I must say the equity and merit scholarship application deadline closes early. It comes, I think, somewhere July and ends in August for this year's application. But for the GDI merit, it's released in November, and successful candidates are announced in March, or mine came in May, but the usual time is in March or April. So for that one, you apply early. But for the equity merit, in case you are not you are in one of those countries that are eligible to apply, you look out for. I remember when it was July, they were posting, encouraging people to apply early. So that's the deadline. I'm showing this form because, like you see here, the personal statement is quite short, right? You write your reasons for the proposed course that you are talking about. You intend to study, and this is how you intend, your course that you've chosen will improve lives. So, like I said, it's a development institute. So it's like, let's say it's a department for developing countries. So whichever courses you are doing there, how would the course help you to go back to your country and help? And let me use my case. I work in the as an accountant, right? And I've decided to do development finance. So how do I link that? Now, part of the qualification, part of the conditions for this scholarship is that you should have worked full time for no less than 2 years. At the time I was applying, I worked like close to 5 years. So obviously I've ticked that box. The other thing was for me to link my experience to the course I'm taking. And I realized that when I went back to read my personal statement, there was one thing that I did. I volunteered for an organization called Skill Up Entrepreneurship Foundation, and I'm the research officer there. Remember, this NGO, what we do is to train small scale businesses and give them sound financial management practices, etc. That came to mind, luckily for me, and I linked that, okay, this is what I do, and I chose development finance, and it is my how do I even put it? It is, I wish to develop my skills and understand development issues, build my research skills, and come back and continue this and maybe develop it further. So you see, I've linked not necessarily my paid job experience, but my volunteer experience to my motivation, right? So that is really critical because, of course, the scholarship is for you to bring students from less developed countries, give them the skills and experience, go back to their country and go and help their country on development issues. So you should be able to demonstrate your experience and link it to your personal statement or your motivation. So that is really important. And your CV, really, really important. So there are a lot of resources on how to write a very good CV for your school application. So I realized that was another good thing I did. Then you are ordinarily school application, you will be asked to submit no less than 2 recommendations, right? Some applications even require you to send about 3. But for this particular scholarship, you are only required, as at the last time I checked, maybe things can change, like even the other scholarship I talk about, but usually though, you'll be asked to submit just 1 professional reference, not even academic, professional. So I remember I made my boss did this for me. I know some people, it may not be easy for you to speak to your boss, but at least somebody that, for me, I could easily, my boss wrote this recommendation for me, but I could have still gone to my team lead in my volunteer group to write it for me, right? If you're not comfortable, maybe wherever you work, for your boss to do that, knowing that this is the plans you have, you can still get somebody, maybe there's another network that you are in, right? gets a very good recommendation. He wrote a very solid recommendation for me, highlighted my interest in development issues and linked that. And that was and I must tell you, these people do read your personal statement a lot. It's really important. They do look at it, right? So it was another good thing I reflected and noticed I did right. So like I indicated earlier, I linked my motivation for my choosing course to what I do now and will do after the program. Yes, really important. I did that. And like I said, it could be a volunteer work or any work you've done to help community or etc. Even if not help the community, whatever you are doing now, how do you think when you pursue your masters in that particular development area, you'll be able to go back to your country and improve that area of lives of your people? That is really critical. It is really important in this application process. That's why they've made it a bit quite seamless, straightforward. Then another thing, in fact, deliberately connect to people offline and online. Yes, this scholarship, I got it through a link that was shared by somebody on LinkedIn within my network, right? I saw the link in November, picked it, applied, and I went ahead to speak to the person, and the person mentioned gave me one advice, and I think that advice was what I took that help in. There was the fact that he said I should hammer on linking my motivation to the program, right? More about the things she mentioned that, and I think that was when I thought about my volunteer work and spoke about it. I didn't speak much about my actually paid work, but that was when I reflected and realized that no, this is a development course I'm going to pursue, right? So that's why it's really, really important. I know there are a lot of resources online, like dear young graduate, they do share a lot of scholarships. It's important, really important to connect with people online and offline. You may not know it. Sometimes it's just an advice that can make that difference. So I'll say this were the things I reflected on that I did quite right because I've had applied for a lot of scholarships and some were not, the news were not good. But I must say, these are the things that if on hindsight, I think I did really well. So now, GDI, University of Manchester, ideally you say all our education were in English from primary to university, right? But some of these UK schools expect some high standard in your English proficiency. So this scholarship, I think they do look at your WASI. If your WASI is not more than 5 years old, and the grade you had is a B2 or better. But in my case, my WASI was more than 5 years, right? So even my language proficiency I took from my university didn't suffice. I was asked to write it. So I remember the scholarship news came in May. I had to prepare. I had to up to July, so I had to prepare within 3 weeks and went to write the IELTS. And for Manchester, for this course, GDI doesn't expect anything less than 7.0 for the program. So 7.0 out of 9. So your overall band, if you know your WASI results, you don't have an A or B2, and those grades are not. I'm talking in terms of Ghana. So if anybody is outside Ghana and speaking, so maybe your country, your English proficiency, if you've obtained that and it's no more than 5 years old and it's not a B or an A, then remember that when you are successful, you'll be asked to write this and submit the test course. Right? At the time, it was a headache for me. I thought, oh, I had done well, I have my YC results, but I had to actually prepare because a full scholarship, just English test. If you say you can read and write, you should be able to demonstrate it and pass your IELTS. If you actually, I must say, if you actually sit down and prepare really well, you'll be able to pull through. So Yes, so there's that challenge may come on when you are successful. I call it a challenge because it was a challenge for maybe you, it may not be a challenge for you. So that's the other thing I'll talk about the English test. Then, so I think this is the end of my presentation. Baba.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Thank you very, very much. I hope that we all took some notes because I took a lot of notes here. And one, I have one question.
Okay.
In your presentation, you were talking about the scholarship being given to 2 to 3 people per year. And I was wondering, is it per country or overall? Like, mhm,
Yeah. So let me clarify. So I'm saying that the GDI runs um two categories of the master's funding, right? One
mhm.
is the equity and merit for low income countries. For that one, there are 39 in total, 29 for full-time students and 10 online.
Okay.
But for the GDI merit, the one I am on, right, which
Mhm.
was now rebranded to the bursary. So of course the value has decreased, right, until last year. For that one, the numbers are not like the equity and merit. For that one, when I spoke to few people who are on that scholarships, for my cohort, we are only two, right,
Okay.
from Ghana.
So only
But
two in Ghana.
yes, but
Oh,
and
okay.
yes, but I understand that previous badges we even had like five.
Wow. Okay.
Yes, so it's like I think it's not fixed based on maybe the budget available, or sometimes I also understand they give it to some people and they decide they get other offers and go. So my year, I'll say just two of us were awarded, right?
Wow.
But like I said, they want to increase the scope. That is why even the value has reduced.
Okay. So with the 10,000, is it like, are you doing the scholarship, the program for 2 years, or it's a 1 year scholarship program?
Uh, gen-
Master's program. Yeah.
Generally, UK masters are 1 year, except
One
in
year.
6 years, so it's just a 1 year program.
Okay. So the 10,000 is like for covering of school fees or
Yes, yes, yes. I think there's a question in the comment section.
okay. Let me check. Okay. Mimi is asking, do SDGs play a role in the scholarship application?
Yes, yes, that's a good question, Mimi. Yes, so like I said, uh, GDI is there for development. So if you look at the courses available, most of those courses address the SDG. So if you are somebody who even have some work that you've done in that area, right? You are presenting a very competitive application. So yes, it plays a big role in your application. So if you have done any work in that area, I would recommend that you highlight that strongly in your personal statement or your motivation.
Okay. And Emmanuel is asking if there are any recommendations for the health, for those in the health field, like does it cover health sector too, since it's development and it
Yes,
can.
so if I'm looking at the courses here, right? So I
Mhm,
can see global development in poverty and inequality. And when I look at some, um, it depends on the area of health you're talking about, right? Health is broad. You can be looking at the development side of health, right? So, like I said, I am from. Uh, I've seen people who have done development courses and which are more health oriented. I'm doing. I'm from accounting and finance, so I looked for a course that has some semblance of finance. So I could have gone for the economics or the finance. But so if you ask me, yes, if you look through, one another important thing you have to do is that, and I think I did, was to have gone to the website, look at the course, look at the course, um, how do I call the details of the course,
mhm.
right, and the objectives of the course. I highlighted that in my statement a lot. So if you look at the course outline, all of these courses is on their website. They'll tell you the various course the modules under the program. So that will give you an idea as to whether I'm in health, but which aspect of the health do I want to look at? The which aspect of the health is more development related, then I can pick. So I may not be able to tell you. In fact, even in health, you have public policy in health, right? So yes, you just have to look at the courses here. I don't want to be definitive because I've not looked at all the course outline for all these courses, but like I say, all these courses here, you will be able to find something health in development to be able um to apply for. So I would advise that maybe I didn't put the link here. All these courses have their outline. Just go look at it and see the course content and see which of them is more aligned to your health. And I think that should be fine.
Okay, okay. So with the you talked about PhD courses,
Yes.
um, and with this master's, I think it's 1 year.
Yeah.
And is it
Yeah.
that you are obliged to go back or to go back home to develop, or maybe after you are done with the master's and you choose to do PhD, you can just continue with it
Yeah.
or
So
stay in UK?
so in fact, let me on top of my mind, the terms of the scholarship is first of all to be of good behavior whilst I'm in the school, and
Mm-hmm.
to also not do anything to breach the terms of my visa.
Yeah.
And I'm supposed to be one of the reasons why I'm excited doing this and what I'm doing is that I'm expected to be a good ambassador of the scheme, the scholarship scheme, right? And in
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
apply that those are the things that were some of the things in the terms of my scholarship. And the other thing is, uh, they expect me to go back to my country, right? So
Okay.
that's a wedding. I'm expected to go because, of course, they are expecting that it is called equity and merit because they believe that low-income countries don't have the opportunities, right? So why don't we bring some of their people and enhance their human capital to be able to go back and help? So, of course, I've seen most of the students who complete and go back. And that's, in fact, that is the expectation, right? And I've also seen some alumni who necessarily didn't go back, but
Mm-hmm.
doing other things. Some of them have continued to do their PhD in the school. So that would be my response, right? So I- the terms over there is expectation. They expect you to finish and go back. Yeah.
Okay, so from what you're saying, it's not as if it's definite or it's
Uh,
um a rule that oh, when you finish, you have to go back.
yeah,
But
the disclaimer is that that's my understanding because
okay, your
if I look at,
understanding.
yes, because if I look at the terms of maybe another scholarship scheme like is it Chevening? For that
Yeah,
one,
Chevening. Yeah.
they are so definite about it, right? But like I said, by learning from those I have seen, there are some seniors of mine that actually went back home. There are some
Mm-hmm.
that continued after their masters.
Okay, okay,
There are some that are working. So, like I said, they are expecting you to it's an expectation, right?
okay. So there is a question from Bismarck Boydu. He's
Okay.
asking from your personal experience working or doing the scholarship and listening to other scholars, what are the unique thing or what's the unique thing about these scholars?
Yeah. So, like I said, let me go back to the enhance this page.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's so like I said, see, those who apply for the scholarship in the first place, for somebody to apply for the scholarship, the person who knows that he or she have the how do you call it, the minimum threshold to apply for the scholarship, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you know you have a bachelor's, a strong, I think that for this scholarship scheme they require a 2.1 in UK. That will be in our Ghana terms. So I'm not so sure about the other African country, but 2.1 in UK will mean a second class upper or a first class or better. So if you have a first class or a second upper, you are qualified, right? Now, a lot of people have this qualification. So it's that now comes to the other things that you do to make yourself competitive. Like I said that one of the things is to apply early, and one of the things is to invest your time in writing a very good personal statement. Like I said, these people read it a lot, right? That's form a significant part of their decision that they take on your application. So write a very good personal statement. Everybody who has obtained a second class upper, everybody will admit that they are all good. But it's the other things you do. A very good recommendation, right? So those are the things. It's not as if they are maybe super talented, but once you have a second class upper or a first class, you have met the threshold, right, for applying for this scholarship. Is the other things that you do to make yourself competitive. I'm not so sure if I've answered this question. I think there's a question.
Yeah, checking it. Said, are you available to review prospective applicants' personal statement and CV? I think that with the personal statement and CV, dear young graduates, we have videos on that on our YouTube channel that you can go there and check it out. We have how to write your personal statement, how to write your CV for master's scholarship, PhD scholarship. So you can check it out on our scholarship on our YouTube channel. Yeah. But if you are also available to review some of the prospective applicants, I don't know.
Yeah,
You
so like I said, the scholarship scheme expect me to also justify the privilege that I've been given, right?
yeah,
So um yes, so I can't decline the opportunity to maybe also have a second look at somebody's CV or personal statement. So yeah, so why not? But
yeah,
all I
you
know
can.
is that when I did I didn't just keep it to myself, right?
Mhm.
Also looked on to other people who I know could have a say in it. I just shared with them, and they also gave me their feedback. So yes, I can also offer that help
Okay.
free of charge. But like I said, speak to one or two people and just look at before you submit.
Okay.
And like you said, I'm sure there are a lot of resources like you've mentioned. So that should also be the starting point, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So this scholarship is, I think, for September, right? The normal opening date for the scholarship is it September or November? So you have like a lot of time to prepare and apply for it.
Yeah. So the equity and merit for the low income countries, that one it has a very short window.
Mm-hmm.
So that is so I'm sure by now even those who are successful have been notified,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
That's it. So it's for the 2024-2025 academic year, it was released somewhere in July of last year, and by August 31st, it was closed,
Yeah.
right? But for the GDI merit, the one that I am on, they release it in November and
Mhm.
close it by middle of January.
January. Okay. So it means that for next year, the probability of them opening it in November is also high. So
Yes,
this is like a preparation thing for people who are connected to,
yes, yes, yes,
yeah,
yes,
to just start preparing and applying.
yes.
Because the earlier you prepare, the better.
The
Okay,
better.
someone has a question.
Okay.
Said, I have a bachelor's in education and I have worked as a social worker for a decade now. Do I have a recommended scholarship to share here?
Yeah,
Hmm.
you if I heard your background is in social work,
Education.
right? Education and social. If you ask me on the face of it, that's a very good background. In fact, your experience, like I said, their concern is to bring people from those countries to help solve the challenges of those countries, and social work is one of those areas. So it's all boiled down to how do you articulate your experience and link it to the course you want to go and read, right?
Yeah,
Why do you want to go and pursue this particular master's in this area or development area? And how do you intend to uh, transform your country with this experience? That's so. Yes, of course, you are qualified to do that. I don't think I'm. Uh, I'm. I'm not so sure. There's a lot of restriction as your background. What I do see is Of course, if some of the courses, what I will say is that some of the courses they are a bit they contain a bit of mass. So there's expectation that you should have. So something like development economics and policy and development finance, I expect that you should have some little bit of mass in your undergraduate because it's just a 1 year. It's a very short time for you to adjust. If you don't have a mass background, you struggle. So for those ones, of course, but the other programs like their project management that is not a hardcore mass area. So it's just about looking at the courses available, look at the details, which is well uh, explained in the website, then look at the requirement, then you are good to go. So yes, of course, you have a very good background to apply.
So before I answer this question in the comment section, does age matters when you're applying for this particular scholarship?
I'm not so sure because I'm not so sure. It's one scholarship scheme that I've not seen anything about age because I've seen in fact when I was coming to UK, there was somebody who was reading my course that I connected with to be able to just have and find ideas to the course I'm doing, and he was quite old, right?
Mhm.
So I don't think age is much of a limitation in this because I know there are some scholarship they are explicit about it. If you are maybe less than this or if you are more than this, yeah, but this one I've not cited anything of that. So why don't discount yourself before you apply. Just put in the right and let them say you are of this age, so you don't qualify. But I've not cited that, so you could go ahead.
Okay. So the other question is the scholarship only limited to University of Manchester? Is it just only Manchester or other universities in UK that have this scholarship scheme?
Oh no, this is the Global Development Institute I'll say a department within the University of Manchester. So it's funded by Manchester and Manchester's partners. So it's a course run by University of Manchester. So it's just University of Manchester.
Okay. So from what you were saying, I think when you were doing the presentation, you were
Yes.
talking about applying to the university, and after getting it, they will tell you to like you can apply for the scholarship or you can apply both university and scholarship at the same time.
Oh no, this is how it works. Like I said, they want to make the process seamless for you. So the Development Institute is a subset of the school, right? So they run the scholarship. But remember, they are under the school. So you fill that form. That form goes to the Global Development Institute. They look at it and award you. Then, when they send you the scholarship letter, they will now ask you to now submit your details into the school system so that the school can capture your details. But because they are going to mediate the process, it's seamless. So it's not as if it's the university at the higher level that is the one giving you the scholarship. It's the GDI within the school,
Okay.
right? Giving you that. So it's you just in that form that I showed. You fill the form, you submit it. GDI look at everything when you are successful. They send you the award letter. Then they ask you to now resubmit your details. Now the university will give you an idea. Then you carry on from there.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Uh-huh.
That's great. That's great. Please, if you have any questions, you can put it in the comment section or yeah. And those of us on Facebook too, you can also ask your questions and yeah, we will answer it for you. Bismarck is asking, what makes GDI a destination of study?
Yeah. So I would say the the Global Development Institute. In fact, it was a creation of two institute, World Poverty Institute and Institute of Development and Management, right? And I think either number one or number two largest development institute in UK. And in terms of numbers, I think it's even the biggest in terms of numbers. So it is a popular institute if you want to do development studies, right? So if you are somebody interested in development studies, is a well-known institute for. So if that's one of the selling points of University of Manchester, their development institutes. That's one of their selling point. So every school has a particular area that if you they are known for this. So one of the things that GDI is known for is their development institute. So yes, of course, if that is your interest, is that makes it a place for you to consider.
Okay. Someone is asking, he or she gained admission to read MA Linguistics in the University of Manchester for 2024-2025 academic year. That's recently. And he's asking whether he or she qualifies to apply for this scholarship and how do they go about the process?
Yeah.
Or
So
if, Mhm. Okay.
okay.
So my follow-up question is if there are any other scholarships within the university that the person can apply to.
Yeah. So the GDI has courses that is under the institute, and I'm not so sure MA linguistics is under it. So for in fact, if it is a GDI scholarship, like I said, you would have applied to GDI first before they will award you the scholarship and ask you to apply to the school, right? So for if the University of Manchester gives you admission, that is a admission from the school, not necessarily from GDI. Now that said, I'll say that like as I indicated earlier in my presentation, the University of Manchester is 200 years this year. So they are running a lot of scholarships uh, that you can also look out for. So you can connect, and I may share some of these links with you to also consider applying to some of the scholarships. There are a lot of bicentenary scholarships that they are giving out to people who are already having offers from the school. So that's an area you can also explore. But in terms of a GDI, once it's not a GDI program, the scholarship doesn't cover that.
Okay, so from what you're saying means that the program should be GDI, a development program. It should be under the GDI scholarship scheme before you can qualify for the scholarship
Yes, GDI courses. So like the ones
process.
I've shown here, these courses. Um,
Yeah.
these courses for master's courses, these are the development courses. So, and the PhD courses, these are in fact the PhD. If anybody is on the call that is interested, is an area that you should. They actually actively look for people to
Mhm.
apply for the PhD courses, right? So these are the courses, and in fact, you can just go University of Global Development Institute, University of Manchester. It will give you the link to all the courses that they run, and once you apply for any of those courses, then you apply for the scholarship, and you'll be considered.
Okay.
Like,
So with it,
let me add, these are just scholarships under GDI. I know there are scholarships even run by the engineering school. There are scholarships at the Alliance Business School, and other departments. But like I said, this presentation is about Global Development Institute, right?
okay.
There are other scholarships run by other schools themselves, and there are scholarships run by the universities. Like I said, even this year, because of the bicentenary celebration, there are other scholarship schemes that they have launched. So that you can also consider that. But this is main scholarship run by the GDI.
Okay. So from what you're saying, we have to research about the other scholarships in University of Manchester because this is not like the only scholarship in University of Manchester.
Yes, yes, yes.
So research, research, research. And for those of us who want to do PhD, maybe straight from bachelor's or even master's, there are also scholarships under the GDI scheme too that they can also look at. So it's not only restricted to masters, it's masters and PhD, and
Yes,
also it's not restricted. The scholarships is just GDI, but you can also look at other scholarships under the university. So
sure.
the bottom line is research and also connecting with people. Okay, so So someone is asking for someone like me with a first degree in economics and mathematics, no, economics with mathematics, and over 4 years working experience with a local government service, which development course would you recommend?
Well, I, I'm not so sure the name of the person, but my
Bismarck.
yeah, Bismarck, my feedback would be that you having economics and maths background, even I'll suggest. In fact, there are a lot of courses for even people like you, right? I have my colleague that is also on the scholarship. He is reading this course, Development Economics and Policy. He is from economics, pure economics background. So for a course like that, they even require you to have a very strong maths background. So that is there for you to consider. We have here the development finance and a lot of global development. Some of these courses, the names are friendly, but they require some bit of mathematics. So there are a lot of things for you to do, Bismarck. And usually I would say that even if you are somebody from a maths background, you have a lot of flexibility in the courses you do. So I don't think you have, and your experience as well, global, local government. I think you will have a lot of leverage in applying for some of these courses. So that will be my response.
Okay. And I think that in as much as we are looking at global development scholarship, you don't have to also restrict yourself to just the global development
Yeah,
scholarship. As you said, there are a lot of scholarships in the
sure.
university that you can research and look at. So yeah, I think just research. That's the bottom line. Just research and ask around. Oh, yeah. And someone is asking a follow-up question. He said, can you share um, the available scholarships in the MA Linguistics at the University of Manchester?
You know what I'll do right now is because it's a live call, what the person can do is maybe just connect you on LinkedIn so I can go and
Yeah,
some of those links to you so that I can
yeah,
explain, right?
yeah. I think the LinkedIn is Elvis Calvin
Yes,
Owusu.
yes, 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 yes.
So you can connect with him on LinkedIn. This man can say, yes, I know you are researching. Yeah, it's not easy to like get scholarship and funding and everything. Yeah. Uh, okay. I think there was this question that I skipped. Is it are the courses taught based or research based courses?
So most of the master's courses are taught, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, that we even have full time and part time, but usually the scholarship courses, apart from the equity and merit that you can do, you can get a scholarship and do online. Most of the scholarships are full time, right? And they are PGT, postgraduate taught. But for the PhD, they are research courses, right? That's why they require a lot of people. They are encouraging a lot of people to apply. Yeah. So for the PhD, full research, obviously PhD is research. So, but for
Yeah,
the masters, they are taught masters.
it's masters. Okay.
And of course, UK is just 1 year. Right? So few schools that do 2 years, that way you do the MPhil, that you do research. So
Research, yeah. Okay. I think we don't have any questions again. Please, if you have any questions, you can write it in the comment section and we would be glad to answer. Let me check Facebook if we have questions from Facebook. I think someone asked the deadline yeah, the deadline.
yes, deadline for so like I said, the equity and merit. If you are interested and you want to apply, it should be start from July. You should be looking out for it. And GDI has a LinkedIn handle. I think if you're interested in GDI scholarship, you should actually look for GDI handle, maybe as well as the Manchester. But GDI do post and repost both Twitter and LinkedIn, right? They post it in July. I'm not so sure there's anybody apart from Ghana, but for from July for the equity amendment from July, you check out. But for the other scholarship from November,
Okay.
that's what they are. Then by January, middle of January for the November one, but for the
Mhm.
July one by the end of August. But like I said earlier, the advice is that you don't have to wait. Once you see it, you should apply quite early because when it becomes critical, they do first come, first served.
Saved. Oh, okay.
Mm.
Okay. So it's better to apply early. Look out for the scholarship opening early and apply early.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Did you say the application opens in July for the same year or for the next year?
For the next year.
For the next year.
Yes.
Okay. So you started with your course like this academic year, just this academic year, or
Yeah, that was last September.
last last September. Okay, so just recently. So how is the system there, the educational system there? How are you adjusting?
Yeah. So, uh, in terms of others non-academic, well, the weather is the weather, but like I said, I prefer the cold than the heat. Uh, then, in terms of academics, the only difference is the fact that the class sizes are smaller.
Mhm.
The resources available for you to use are maybe more advanced than we had in Ghana. So the expectations are maybe the assessment types are also different from like what you'll be used to, but it's not in terms of the students' capabilities. Is the same. Like yeah, there are good students everywhere, right? Just
Yeah,
that it's the systems that enables you and exposes you. So
yeah.
it's the systems. The difference will be the systems.
Okay, that's good. Yeah. I think that we don't have any questions again. So, but if any of us have any questions, you can send us an email or just, yeah, we will be glad to answer because we are always in touch with Elvis. So we'll be glad to answer any questions that you would want to ask. So, yeah, thank you very much, Elvis. And okay, what are your last words for us? For those of us who want to apply for scholarships, not only for GDI, but for other scholarships, what are your last words for us before you leave?
Yeah. So my last words are first of all, I would say, in fact, be intentional about uh, putting your like looking for networks to be aligning yourself with. There are a lot of information I gather, not necessarily from even Ghanaians, Nigerians, a lot of informations, right? That I do get online, and dear young graduate, I didn't even know it was linked to the founder. I used to follow it at some point, and I see some other scholars. So the bottom line is, once you are interested in applying for scholarships, make sure that you actively look for accounts and follow and speak to people, right? Speak to people. There are one or two things you hear. Like this scholarship, it was just a link if somebody in my network shared. I looked at it, messaged the person, and the person was kind enough to give me some tips, and that was it, right? So my advice would be spend your time in writing a very good personal statement. And these people they do read it a lot. They use it to assess your writing skills and see whether you actually read the requirement of the application. They check all those that. So sell yourself well in your application and get a very good recommendation. And like I said, speak to people, like connect, pick ideas from a lot of people. You put all together, and I'm sure you'll be fine. And my concluding remarks will be that, dear young graduate, I want to thank you, Baba, and your founder. I'm so grateful for giving me the platform to how do you call it, carry on the scholarship I'm on, what I'm expected to be doing, right? So I'm grateful for giving me the platform to be able to share, and I hope it was helpful for those who joined.